When the top name on defense is about to land a massive contract, the team avoids making any big moves. But then comes an unexpected retirement, a sudden gap in the salary cap, and suddenly everything changes. In the middle of it all, the idea of bringing in a respected veteran surfaces along with another name very familiar with the NFC North. Behind the scenes, things are heating up in Detroit, and what could happen next might surprise even the most optimistic fan. Drop a like, because these updates are promising. Alright, so here's the lowdown coming out of Detroit, and yeah, it's got fans buzzing. The Lions have spent most of this offseason playing it safe, staying away from splashy moves despite their pass rush clearly needing a jolt. Most folks were hoping for some star power to line up opposite Aiden Hutchinson, but instead, they rolled the dice on Marcus Davenport. Not exactly headline material, but now there's a little smoke on the trade front and maybe some fire too. ESPN cooked up a segment where their writers pitched trade proposals for players likely on the move. And guess who showed up? Trey Hendrickson, the All-Pro edge rusher from Cincinnati. Ben Salak put together a mock deal that ended up being the top offer for Hendrickson. The terms: Detroit sends a 2026 second rounder and a 2027 fourth that could bump up to a third. And in return, they get Hendrickson and a 2026 fifth. On paper, that's not too wild. But here's the thing: Detroit's front office has been reluctant to go big on another pass rusher, mainly because they know they'll have to hand Aiden Hutchinson a massive paycheck soon. Hendrickson carries a $21 million price tag, not exactly spare change. That said, the plot thickens. With center Frank Ragnow retiring, the Lions' once dominant O-line just took a huge hit. They probably won't be able to bully defenses in the trenches like they used to. So, what's the pivot? Lean harder on the defense. And bringing in Hendrickson, a guy who consistently wreaks havoc in the backfield, makes that strategy a whole lot more realistic. Plus, Detroit was already sitting on a solid chunk of cap space before Ragnow stepped away. Now, they've got even more room to maneuver. Maybe it's finally time to stop playing it safe and take a big swing. If the Lions are serious about staying in the NFC's elite, bringing in a guy like Hendrickson might be the smartest way to fill the all-pro void Ragnow left behind. Would you pay big for Hendrickson if you were the GM? Drop a comment, because the next edition might be even more surprising. The Lions are still licking their wounds from the 2024 season, a year that saw their Super Bowl dreams crushed by the Commanders just one step away from the NFC title game. Injuries piled up like dirty laundry, and by the time December rolled around, it felt like Dan Campbell was trying to coach a preseason roster through a playoff push. Aiden Hutchinson was out for the season with a broken leg, Aleem McNeil tore his ACL, and the entire linebacker unit was practically wiped out. Alex Anzalone broke his arm, Derek Barnes was lost for the season, and Malcolm Rodriguez also tore up his knee in week 13. It was a full-blown defensive apocalypse. Now, heading into 2025, Detroit isn't just hoping for redemption, they're trying to build a team that can withstand the inevitable wave of injuries that hits every NFL season. And part of that strategy? Adding smart, veteran depth. That's where a familiar name comes in: Eric Kendricks. Yep, that Eric Kendricks. The former Vikings captain and 2019 All-Pro, now 33, who's bounced around recently with the Chargers and Cowboys. Even if his prime is behind him, the guy still racked up 88 tackles, 3 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and 2 picks last season in Dallas. Not bad for someone supposedly past his prime. If this move happens, Kendricks won't need to be Superman. Detroit already has its starting linebackers, assuming they can stay healthy this time, but Kendricks would bring veteran leadership and solid rotational reps in the middle. Considering the Lions didn't draft a single linebacker and are running thin at the position, this would be a smart insurance policy. But it's not all sunshine in Motown. Frank Ragnow, the heart of the offensive line, just retired, and now Jared Goff is gonna have to adjust to a new center, possibly even rookie Tate Ratledge. Add to that the fact that both coordinators left for head coaching gigs, and yeah, 2025 is looking like a behind-the-scenes reset. Ben Johnson is now calling plays for the Bears, Aaron Glenn is leading the Jets, and the Lions are turning to John Morton on offense and promoting Kelvin Shepard from within for defense. With all this change, Detroit has to hope they can stay healthy and hit their stride when it matters. Last season's crash and burn finish was brutal, and nobody in that locker room wants to relive it. If Detroit wants to compete at the top, hope and promises won't be enough. Hendrickson and Kendricks could be exactly the reinforcements this injury-worn roster needs. If you enjoy this kind of breakdown, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any Lions updates.